We're out west. We're in Harmony. And we are celebrating women in construction by spotlighting a leader who embodies grit, vision, and the courage to reinvent her career. Cindy Miller, president of BERO Equipment Rental Options, made a bold leap after nearly 2 decades in the corporate world to build a heavy equipment rental company from the ground up. Cindy Miller, welcome to IronCast.
Thank you.
All right, Cindy.
Glad to have you here.
Thank
I'm actually
you.
here too.
Jason's here. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm on the other side. Yeah.
It's women in construction.
I'll just sit here. I'll just sit here like a good, like my wife taught me. I'll just sit here and not say anything. But we're in Harmony.
Harmony's great. Yeah. So
This is what they call the Taj Mahal.
yeah, and BERO is just a couple of miles up the road from the Harmony branch.
Yes, it is.
It was a literal 3-minute drive, if that, to get here. So Cindy, let's get a little bit into your background. For listeners who may not know you yet, can you share a little bit about your role and how BERO Equipment Rental Options came to be?
Yes. So I was in the corporate environment. I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods for 18 years. I was in the human resources department, ran the compensation side of that business. Whenever COVID hit, there was a downturn, and there were different companies that were essential to work. Where you could,
we remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dick's was a downturn. I was on a reduced schedule. Board debt to board, like okay, there aren't any calls coming in. So Mark Butler, who owned Butler Equipment Rental Options at the time, who I'd known fairly well, said, "Hey, I need some help on some operational side of the business. Is this something that you would be willing to do?" So, yep, I did. And early 2020 is when I started working up at Butler Equipment Rental Options, not actually as an employee, but truly as someone just learning the business. So from there, he came to me a year later and said, "Hey, I am selling my companies. I'm selling Equipment Rental Options, which is up in Newcastle." And
because we have listeners that are all over the state. Yep. And how far away is Newcastle?
So it's 40 minutes from here. So
it's in proximity a little bit.
Yeah. It's a very similar size operation to what Butler Equipment Rental Options is, from a rental fleet perspective. So he's like, I'm going to sell. We have a deal negotiated with Sunbelt Rentals. He said, is this something that you would want to do? He said, "I think you can do it."
Well, what were you doing currently? I was doing a lot of the operational stuff. Okay.
I started to learn more about the machines, just in general. What is a Cat 303.5 excavator or a John Deere 50P? Just that kind of stuff, because I wasn't familiar with those kinds of specific.
It's like a whole new world for you.
Whole new world.
Yeah. I remember that starting and not knowing
nomenclature is the hardest thing to learn coming into this industry, I think.
Yeah,
it is. Yes. And he was a teacher way back, whenever he first started his career. So he had that teaching mentality. And I was learning about bolts. So, he had me count bolts and, okay, is this a fine coarse bolt? Is it smooth? All that. So,
sure.
But from there, I was like, you know what? COVID was starting to turn and things were getting better. And I'm like, I honestly don't think I could go back into that corporate environment after being out, having the flexibility and just seeing, this is how a small company operates. So when he asked, hey, I'm going to sell, I'll sell Butler Equipment Rental Options, but I want you to first consider, would you be interested?
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't able to buy the company per se because he had an agreement with Sunbelt, but I was able to buy the assets. So I did an asset purchase of all of the equipment, everything that's in our building. So basically nothing changed. The company looked exactly the same. We stayed in the same place. At the time I had the same employees, but I had to change the name. So when I thought about that, I'm like, okay, we don't want to have customers think, okay, there's this completely new company, and have to start that all over. So
that can be tough.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, what name could be similar? Because a lot of times, even though we were Butler Equipment Rental Options, people considered us BERO. They would say BERO. You would hear that a lot. So that's how we came about the name as
just a little shift,
just a little bit, because
just
we're in the same place.
Things are a little,
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's incredibly smart to do that. Wow.
It is. Yeah.
So it basically was, ground up for everything, with the exception of the location, and the current assets that we had at the time. But yeah, that's how we evolved.
So you went from the corporate world of Dick's Sporting Goods, and then now you're in the world of construction equipment. Let's talk about that shift.
Yes.
Let's walk through that process.
Yeah. So that was a big change for me. Whenever you're in a role or a career and that in and out, to go to something, this point in your career where it's all new is challenging, but it's also quite frightening at first. Not knowing a lot of things and asking and just really kind of diving down in. That was one of the bigger challenges, but it was also rewarding, I would say. And when I look back, just the learning on, okay, sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't give myself enough credit because I know more than I think I know, but I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have the support of the people that work with me. And I always say work with me. So I don't believe in any philosophy where, people work for you. It's a team environment. And I always like, okay, there's flat organizations. I like that mindset where, okay, yep, everyone's on an even playing field. I'm very hands off. Like people to be able to take that autonomy and kind of go with things, which is what I have now.
Yeah, you have a lot of trust. I think that's really important that, they can kind of take their skills, they're very confident in, and you can let them go do their thing. And support is also a very big part of helping your business be successful. So your partnership with GT&E with us began in 2023. What initially drew you to work with us?
So it's funny because, as you'll see in my yard, the majority of the equipment that I have is Caterpillar equipment. And we've never really been approached by anyone on the Deere side. Now, I wasn't involved. I didn't purchase the assets until 2022. So, I don't know like what that what was driven on like other
their buying
dealers.
choices and stuff.
Yeah. But there were a couple instances where we had a need for a very large excavator for a customer. It was a 350.
Yeah.
And it was a Deere machine that they wanted and we didn't have it. So we started with, can we set up some type of rental alliance? That was the very first time that we had partnered with GT&E. We rented the machine, from... We
went right for the big boy.
We went right for the big... Yeah, we have nothing at all in our fleet that size. Ideally, one day, I'd love to. Mm-hmm. But that's how it very initially started. From there... wanted to expand the fleet. We need to refresh, and I don't like to have a bunch of old equipment. So Don Barclay, who was my salesperson, he introduced me, and I'm like, look, I give you guys a chance. Come in with some numbers on machines. I was looking for a wheel skid loader at the time. Okay. So the very first machine that he sold me was my John Deere 324G. Nice. So that was the very first one. And then from there, we needed to start to turn some equipment. So we started to move some of our older equipment. And the new Deere 331, 333, and 335Ps came out.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
those were machines that was like, okay, yeah, do I go that route? And I held on those initially because I'm like, well, what about excavators? So we started with a couple of the smaller excavators. So we have a 35P and a 50P. And then those were going well. So then it's like, okay, what about some of the bigger ones? So I bought a 245. And I remember going up to, it was in Newsstand, and I remember driving up with Don, and he's like, here this machine is. And I'm like, this is a big machine. It's
Yeah.
bigger than any machine that we have. Came back and we bought it. And then shortly thereafter, we bought a 160. So in 2023 was the very first purchase of a machine. 2024, we purchased, quite a few machines and then also attachments. And then in 2025, we purchased, some of the skid loaders.
Nice.
And then, so that's really how that relationship has evolved. And I mean, he's a go-to person. So when there's instances that, I need to bounce something off of someone, he's the go-to person. It's typically him or Adam Kelly.
They've helped you navigate the changes in your fleet.
Yes, they do. I mean, and they have the approach of, they're salespeople, but they're not those annoying salespeople that come knocking on your door. Hey, they truly ask the right questions, and they want to do what's right for my business. So they're not. I don't ever feel like they're selling me something that isn't something that I'm going to need or that would be beneficial to us. From that perspective, it's been great. If there's something that we're not sure of, so we have buckets, and our buckets that we have are Caterpillar buckets, and they're not all interchangeable.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because, like, okay, how do we figure this out? So working with pin sizes and all of that, that is where, they've come in to be very helpful. Where we learned, okay, some of the buckets on some of our cat machines, they don't fit that similar size, but they may fit a bigger size machine.
Right.
So
you learn what range of pin size and all that stuff.
Yes.
And that's great.
Yeah. And then whenever there, if there are items that come about here and we want to dabble in something different, which we've started to do a little bit, well, they'll approach me and, hey, these are machines that we have, are you interested? And that's how I purchased my 3 Terramac trucks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Terramac
Yeah.
trucks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good line to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does great dealership support look like from your perspective?
So from my perspective, great dealership support is when you need someone to, whether it's an issue, whether it's a question, whether you need to pick something up or you just need advice, someone to pick up the phone, someone to answer, someone to take the information and be able to come back with proactive solutions, and to follow up, just say, hey, I'm looking into this, I don't have an answer yet. That's really what is critical. And just touching base, stopping by to see, hey, how's everything going?
Yeah.
Is everything good? Just stopping by and that communication is.
It sounds like you have that a lot with Don.
Yes.
So yeah, he's a good sales rep.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, he is.
Where does that level of trust at right now? And so, you started back in buying equipment in 2023.
Yes.
How's that? Let's walk through that whole trust and how that was built. Because I would love to hear your perspective on your trust with GT&E.
Yes. So,
and John Deere, of course.
Yes. Yes. So, every time you start a relationship with any new vendor, there's some hesitancy on, okay, do you have the right mix of people from personality perspective. And, is it going to be a relationship where you feel like they have your best interest at hand? And that quickly developed with Dawn, with Adam, just being there to answer my questions or guide me on, okay, this is these are the hot items that we need, that our customers are really asking for. What makes the most sense, or what are you seeing in the industry? So that's helped guide us. The other thing that we started to see a lot was where customers were looking for attachments. So, they needed a larger size hammer, or they needed a compactor for an excavator, things that we didn't have.
Right.
So having that creative approach on, this is what we have to offer. We found that customers are looking for those types of attachments.
So since your fleet has grown, do you think that you're getting a more positive response from your customer base? Like when they call in, like you have more equipment and attachments ready to go?
Yes. That is critical, especially, we've seen that more so last year.
Okay.
So whenever we're looking for this year, it's like, okay, what is it that customers are looking to rent that we don't have? And
Could
then
that change like year to year depending on what jobs are going on around?
It does. And that same thing happens with the rental fleet as well. So, we'll see there's a huge spike in like 85 P-size machines. So whenever you start to build that up, and then maybe the next year, it's a shift to skid loaders. So whenever that kind of approach happens is when you have to then adjust your fleet. And whenever you're looking for that smaller type attachments, typically they're easily accessible to purchase. So we base a lot on what our customers are looking for to determine, okay, we need to shift upward pretty quickly in these categories. Because at the end of the day, it's all about customer need, customer demand. And if you don't have it, it's not good.
So you just have a very business savvy mindset.
Yes.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because like jumping into this, not knowing anything, having to learn it all and try to figure out these trends and where things are going and how to be successful. Like that's pretty amazing.
Yes. And it's all about the customer.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't have happy customers, if you don't deliver quality, reliable equipment.
And did you build a lot of customer building relationships, like with when you were in HR and doing all that?
Yes, and it's that trust too. You're giving them the right piece of equipment. You're asking the good questions on, okay, what is it that you're doing? What do you so that we get what it is that you need. And what I found with that is we don't do a ton of advertising. A lot of our business is, existing customers or that word of mouth.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the best type, word of mouth.
Yeah.
It really is.
It really is.
And that is probably one of the most rewarding things for me. Is when we have customers come back, or we have new customers that are like, hey, so-and-so said, they rented these pieces of equipment from you. They're really happy, and even when we have machines that go down, that's going to happen. Yeah. You can have everything in place, but something is going to happen. But it's how you approach that.
How many people do you have on your team again?
So I have two. There's myself, and I have two other people.
So if a piece of equipment goes down, and there's that sense of urgency, and you have a pretty small team.
Yep. Yes.
How do you guys handle that?
So I have a person. His name's Matt Dieter, who handles all of the calls. So if someone calls in through the main line, 99% of the time, that's who they're going to get. So when a customer calls, there's an issue. Whatever it might be, maybe a question or, something just isn't working right or something's down. He gets that information and will troubleshoot, determine, okay, what is it? Is it something that's truly malfunctioned? And what do we need to do to get that customer up and running?
Right.
So sometimes it may be that we can send someone from service out to repair, or a lot of times we have equipment ready to flop. So if something goes down,
you can swap them out.
We have something that goes right back out to minimize their downtime. Now, ideally, that we don't like that to happen. Doesn't happen frequently, but it does happen. The other thing is keeping them in the loop. So not having them like, okay, yep, this is down, and we're not responding back to say, hey, we are working on it. So he's been great with that. EJ is the mechanic. He works in our building. He can go out and repair. He does a lot of the flipping of machines if it does happen. Yeah. Since he's been with me, our machines go out of there they are in top-notch shape. Everything is thoroughly inspected. If there's any question on anything maybe this needs to be repaired, but probably could wait. It's getting repaired. We're not running any risk. No.
So I drove 4 hours to get here. I left a little extra early because I wanted to come by and see. And I'm telling you, when I rolled into your place, I was like, this is legit. Like,
these really nice setup.
You got this figured out.
Yes.
And just so you know, like I go out and look at equipment that our customers buy, the new equipment, and I'm out there specifically looking for everything that you're talking about. And I did my little scan through your yard. I'm like, okay, this is the real deal. So kudos to that. Great job.
Yes.
I think in the rental world, it's about response time. Would you say that?
Yes, it is. I mean, that if you don't have that, you could be dead in the water really fast. We are a small company and compared to the majority of other rental companies. Yeah. So, I mean, we've got to try to differentiate ourselves. And that's one of the main things that has to be there.
So also in the rental house, I know it's about house response time, but there's also a proactiveness to that. And that would be, making sure that maintenance is up to speed. So would you walk through the process for your preventive maintenance on your equipment?
Sure. So we utilize JD Link and, other vendors, their software tools, that tracks hours, service, all of that type of stuff. So I mean, we're following that rigorous service process. From a maintenance perspective, every machine that goes out is looked at. Even though it's serviced already, it's looked at before it ever goes to a customer. It's cleaned, and once it's good, there's a ready to rent tag on there.
I saw those.
Do not and if I ever send a machine out without that ready to rent sticker on, I'm in trouble. So yeah. But when we do that, we take an inspection. So it's a checkout inspection showing the hours, that the machine's full of fuel, that it has the key in there, and everything from that. So a customer, it's good to go. We also take pictures of it, of all angles, so that we have those. And the reason for that is not only to protect ourselves, but to protect the customer.
Right.
So when a machine comes back, we can tell, okay, is there something that's different or wrong? And oftentimes customers will be like, hey, you know what? I had this, there may be damage. So, I mean, they're up front. But on the flip side, if we have a machine that goes out and, it has a dent or there's scratches or something, we have that to protect the customer so it doesn't come back. And, that was there when it went out. Check-in and check-outs are critical. no machine leaves without having those, and no machine leaves without having that ready to rent.
I was just thinking about that because we're talking about, that relationship between you and your customers. To me, when I think about relationships, there's two things that are just crucial for a healthy relationship, and that's trust and accountability.
Yes.
Holding each other accountable, and having those key pieces like you're doing. To me, that just continually builds trust. When a customer would say, "Hey, I did this to the machine. We're going to make good on it." Doesn't that make you feel good as
Yes. I mean, it does. Our customers are great. They take the machines. I mean, they give us feedback, and it's not often that machines get damaged, but I mean, at times they do. And, they'll even come back and say, "Hey, this is what happened." And I mean, things do happen. And I mean, some of them will even show videos so you can see, "Hey, this is what I did," which is, I mean, that's
like, this is why we have insurance.
Yeah. And I mean, and when that does happen, I mean, we don't just ship our machine, to a dealer to have it repaired. I mean, we'll order parts. We'll do that stuff in-house when we can,
right,
to minimize the cost
Yeah.
of, having that customer absorb, an expense when it's not necessary.
You're trying to minimize those absorbed expenses for your customers as best you can.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
So let's shift a little to women in construction.
I'll leave the room
the women
now.
in construction.
Should I leave?
Yeah. We're celebrating women in construction.
Yes, we are.
So as a certified women-owned business, what has this journey been like for you? Like, just, I guess, as in a general sense, just what's it been like?
I'm sorry, what is a you said certified
women-owned business.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Is it a thing?
Yeah. So it's a WBE certification. So it's a very rigorous process, but it is something that I would recommend to any female that owns a business. There's a great support group throughout. There are luncheons. There's all kinds of seminars. But it is a rigorous process to go through. I mean, they're truly vetting individuals out. They want to make sure that, the female is truly running the business. And one of the things that I found as I was going through the process for the application, was that there are not many companies that are rental houses that are woman owned. So to go and prove that, you're a female and you're truly running this business was a challenge at times.
How long was that process?
So that full process took me 6 months to pull everything together.
Oh, wow.
They want, you've got to provide, all of the tax returns. And it was a little more complex for me because I didn't have 3 years of records because I applied sooner. So I only had 2 years.
Yeah, you had just started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, they needed more detail, which I had to provide, but they're looking for everything. Like, okay, what did you purchase? Are you the signer of every document? All of that kind of stuff, just to prove. And the most interesting thing that I had was once they had the initial approval, they had to do a final interview. So my interview was initially going to be in person, which I was like, that's great. It'll be easy to show the building, explain some of the stuff, just like we did, but it was a little more detailed. Well, I found out that it was going to be a remote interview, which it was.
Oh my!
Yeah, which was fine. That was good and fine from the perspective of those general questions. I mean, we were able to go through that, but then to walk through the yard and explain, the different machines and what they do.
Yeah.
that was going well, but our internet service only carries out so far.
Sure.
So at the time, I didn't realize, and I'm like, okay, I'm out here, and then I lost connection, and it's like, okay, I'm talking,
Frustrating.
and I had no connection. But then as we got back in sooner, that was really eye opening to be able to say, hey, yep, I did this. It felt good. And then you had to wait. It took 30 days in order for them to come back.
So did they mail you like a certification? Like what do you?
They email you, notifying you, yep, you've been approved. Here's your certification.
How did you feel when you got that?
I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I was in the building when it happened. And EJ was out there, and I come flying out, and I give him a big hug, and I'm like, then I almost wanted to cry. I was like, it was just because you don't know. I mean, you're going through this, and it's like, is it really going to happen?
Yeah.
And then the second person that I called was my husband, and then I called Don Barclay.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
great.
And at the time I had just purchased a home roller from him.
Nice.
So he came up and he's like, I can't believe it. This is great. And
That is so great.
So then I was laughing because I'm like, okay, we got this new roller. Let's take pictures on it. So there's actually we have a picture of the two of us on my home roller.
There you go.
Oh, we need a copy of that. That's great.
Yeah.
You can share that in the post
We
for
gotta get
this.
that
That's so
picture for
cool.
sure.
Yes. There was a person that was really supportive of me trying to get this, and a lot of guidance. So that was another
That's all.
person that but it was really,
It's like a reward ceremony for you there.
yes, it was.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it was really exciting, and you get
It's a big achievement.
yeah,
That's
and,
great.
and recertification is every year. I just came up on my second year, so I had to go through the recertification process, and just recently got that certification. So my WBE is now certified through March of 2027.
You were saying earlier there aren't as many women-owned rental businesses.
No, there aren't.
What advice would you have for women who might be interested in entering this field?
Yeah. So what I would say is you have to be tough skinned. I mean, you're in an industry that is primarily male dominated, but you have to have that comfort level, strong perseverance in order to be able to push yourself through to really prove, okay, this is something that I can do, and not feeling like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this, but you have to prove yourself. I know there are times when people will come into our building, and automatically they will go right to EJ.
They bypass
or
you?
Matt. Yeah, they will, and then and they'll say, hey, yep, she's the president, she owns the company, and then they're kind of taken back at first. But in that initially was like, oh gosh, but.
I'm sure now it's probably, if it happens, it's, I don't know. I almost think when they were like, oh, okay, I would feel like, yeah, it's changing the narrative in the industry that it is primarily only men. I've seen more female operators. I've seen more just females in the business in general.
Well, let me flip this interview on you, Rachel, because
Okay.
you're a woman in construction.
Kind of,
Why don't you
yeah.
answer the same question?
I would say my advice for women coming in, I came in from an artistic perspective. So it's very different than owning a business and building it from the, ground up and running it forward, purchasing that is all over my head. But when I came into the industry, I didn't know the difference between, a CTL and a skid steer. I still sometimes confuse them because, it just...
It's what you call, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Sometimes I call a CTL a compact track loader.
Yes.
It was very intimidating to come into this industry. But once I realized meeting the business owners, the operators doing customer features, everybody's just so welcoming and nice. And it's not any reason to be fearful going on a job site, just meeting. I just look at it as meeting new people.
I'm going to ask both of you this question because I'm really curious about it. But since you're on a roll here, Cindy, you're next. What moment did you realize, oh, I'm in the construction industry?
I guess it probably would have been one of the earlier customer features that I did, being on a job site with an excavator that was running and just seeing things and thinking, oh, they're going to sniff me out and no, I don't know anything. But it wasn't like that at all. It was more, tell me about your job and what you do. And, oh, I'm new. And, oh, well, what do you want to know? And, just answering questions that I had. And I still have a million questions to this day. But
So do I.
What I have seen over the years is if I look at my work from 8 years ago to now, it is night and day. And I'm interested in that with you, Cindy, that this is relatively in its infancy.
Yes.
Your business is so young.
Yes.
So what is it going to like, and what do you see in, it feels like such a cliche question, but what do you see in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'm definitely looking to expand. I would like to say that I would be double the size of the company I am now, but that's probably a little aggressive. Continuing to expand, not necessarily outside of, the nuts and bolts of the rental side of business that we do, but to expand maybe a little more, like we're starting to with Terramac trucks, those types of pieces of equipment. I think about, whenever you think about like work in mills, those kinds of things, I'm like, that is way out of, of our wheelhouse. I mean, we would never get into something like that. I mean, that purchase would be massive. But yeah, just continuing to expand, but not get so big where we lose that personal customer touch.
Yep.
So I got to ask that same question I asked Rachel.
Yep.
When did it hit you like, oh, wow,
yeah,
I'm in the construction industry?
Yeah. So there were 2 times early on. So whenever, when you're in the corporate environment, you dress completely different. And whenever I started here, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm not going in and wearing the clothes that I wore before. But to really adjust that clothing side of thing, right? So that
you got to look the part, right?
Yeah. So that was very early on, when I first started with Mark. And then the other real moment was we were going out to a customer site, and it was on the job site. It was on a hillside. I had clothes on that I'm like, okay, yep, these are fine. I mean, they jeans, I had, my sweatshirt, my hard hat, my vest. And then I'm sitting there and I thought, you know what? I don't have the right shoes.
Oh, that's funny.
I have boots.
I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing. That's so funny.
See, that's what I thought you were going to say. I knew I was in the construction industry when I forgot to bring
I think
boots.
I've blocked that out of my mind.
So I had, they were boots, but they were casual boots, but they weren't boots to be, they weren't muck boots or boots like that. So
that's so
that
funny.
was and I was up to my, and then you don't want to say, okay, I'm not going to walk over in that direction because I'm going to sink in the mud. But that was my true learning experience. Great. Now it's funny because I just had foot surgery in December.
Oh.
So I can't get into any of my muck boots because I can't get my foot down that far to move in. So I'm altered there with shoes right now. So my biggest thing is, okay, how am I going to find boots where I can get them zippered all the way down?
This could be another business adventure.
Yes.
For you.
Yeah. And shoes are a thing for me, but
I think we're on to something.
I know.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm like, you need to patent something.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah. How you dress and what you need to wear to be able to go on.
It's like then always just throw like a suit jacket in your, or a business casual jacket in your car, and you can throw that on too. Then if you have to hit meetings.
Like Superwoman.
Exactly. Superwoman.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got my one closet is full of all of my like business work clothes. And I'm like slowly but surely downsizing those. And then I'm upsizing on casual.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I like
Awesome.
that story.
And I got I should have wore one, but I got a lot of cool John Deere sweatshirts and vests. And
You got to have the swag.
yes,
I had the swag.
Yes, and I got Dawn just bought me the newest one. Have you seen this? It's a cream color one.
No, I haven't.
And it has the deer part is like gold and it's like sparkly.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I may be the first one that has.
There you go.
Yeah.
That'll be the next outfit that I can wear at the job site.
Yeah. No, you don't want to wear it on a job site though.
Just to get
Yeah,
dirty.
because it'll get all dirty. Yeah. Yeah.
Bring the rhinestones and the sparkles to the industry. So have you noticed the industry evolving in terms of opportunities for women?
I mean, I think there have been. I know if you look on LinkedIn, you see a lot more females that are in the construction industry that are, being promoted or hired into higher level roles.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you look around at job sites, you see a lot more operators, flaggers, and even project managers that are estimators, those types of roles. I mean, there are many more females. So I have 2 customers that have females that are heavily involved in the business. One of them, she is actually doing the work right along with him. I mean, she's
nice.
full-blown, operates, does the whole thing. But she also runs the business as well. So he had approached me on, would you be willing to talk to her? We don't know, maybe this is something that's beneficial for us to have her, go through that WBE process.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So it's really nice to see someone is really doing the work.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And then
Are you walking her through that at all? Or?
I haven't yet, but it's something that we've talked about. So more than likely that will be something that we would do in the future. And anytime I get approached, I'm more than happy. I have another customer that had called actually last week and said, hey, my sister really runs the one segment. So they have 3 different businesses, and she runs the one segment of that business. And we really think that, this would be something beneficial. Would you mind if, I have her call you and, just kind of walk through, what that process is, what some of the benefits are. So we did that and we had a great conversation.
That's great.
Having that vision that, there are opportunities out there. And I mean, that holds true whether you're a male or female. You just gotta be, you have to have that will and, that vision to be able to do that and get dirty. I mean, not, you're not going to be in an office where you're not going to get mud on your feet or something. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What are some of the struggles that you faced being we're talking, this is the women in construction. I'm sure there has been some struggles too.
Yeah. So I think from at the time of when I started the business, there were struggles for me on being confident that I was able to get in front of a customer and really know what I was talking about because, it is, most of who we run into are, they're male-owned companies. And initially I would take someone along with me. So, it would be a dual meeting where,
Right.
It was me and this other sales guy, or on phone conversations. So that I would say was one of the most difficult things for me to do. Now, if a customer calls or, I meet with them, I'm able to answer a lot of the questions. Now, if they're getting into a lot of the detailed specifics, that's way above my comfort level. So that's where I have my team that, those are the experts. So in those types of instances, that's where we're best suited.
Yeah, like it takes a village.
Yes. Yeah.
And you mentioned before, before this podcast, we were talking for a little bit there, and you mentioned about, your tactic with your two employees.
Yes.
That it's not, you said hands off, but to me, I'm thinking that's it's like almost you're empowering them.
Yes.
To do what they do best. So talk into that a little bit, please.
Yeah. So, whether it be, okay, we're trying to get a deal on something and we need to move maybe on rates or be creative. Whatever it is that makes sense for us from the business makes sense for me. Whether it's okay, we're out of line on freight or hauling. Let's figure it out. I don't get involved in those types of discussions unless I need to. And the only way I would need to is if Matt or EJ would come to me and say, hey, what do you think about this? So I know that they're out there, they're doing what's best for the company, and they operate in a mindset that it's their company too, which, when you think about it, it really is. I mean, EJ when he's going through machines, whatever needs to be repaired, he's doing it. He's not coming and saying, hey, you know what, this is going to be an expensive repair. We may be able to do it this way or, cut costs.
Yeah, let's get the duct tape out.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah, no. And and they don't come and say, hey, you know what, we're going to have to spend this amount. Are you okay with that? It's nothing like that. And you have to have trust in people. There are areas of expertise. And I ask that both of them all the time. Hey, can you explain this to me just so I learn? Because every day I like to go home learning something new. That's
not hard to do, is it?
No. And it's no matter what, Matt will explain something on, some electrical thing or, this is what's going on, or, EJ's there and it's like he's in there and I'm like, okay, what is it you're doing? Or he has these tools or how do you operate this machine? So I'm learning how to operate some of the machines. So that's what's really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I notice. I'm learning something every day.
Yep.
Something new.
And I have two of the best. It takes a while to get the right people in place, but I've got two of the best people that anyone could ask for, in my opinion. I may be biased, but I wouldn't trade them
that's
for
good
a world.
to do.
Yeah.
They're probably going to listen to this.
Yeah, they probably will.
It's probably good you said that.
Yeah. It makes you want to come to work and, just having those types of people that, we're good.
So, I'm telling you, we're really getting to know you here. And I think we want to know a little bit more about you and some of your interests, the human side. So outside of work, I guess you're a big sports fan. I know we talked a little bit about that. So
yes.
How does football, Steelers, the Pitt Panthers, Seneca Valley Raiders fit into your life?
Yeah. So Pittsburgh's my home. So I've lived here all of my life. So I'm a Pittsburgh sports fan. So the Steelers, Pitt Panthers, from a community perspective, Seneca Valley, and now the fact that Don Barclay is the head coach there makes it even more.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Oh, when did he start? When did he start head coaching there?
Last year was his first year.
Oh,
yes,
great.
Yeah. So we went to every one of his games with the exception of 2. We were out of town. But
do the players think that's so cool? He's their coach. I'll bet.
Yes. Coming from, when you think about it, coming from playing at West Virginia, playing local Seneca Valley, then West Virginia, then Green Bay Packers, and back here. And also the fact that Pitt beat them 13-9, beat West Virginia when he was playing there. Yeah. So that's a kind of not a standing joke, but yeah. And being a good sales guy, he is. I'm like, you have to come to a Pitt football game with us. He goes, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, nope. So, and he did. So yeah, we don't go to a lot of Steeler games, but we go to every single Pitt Panther football game. My husband's a Pitt alumni. He's one of 11 kids, and they all went to Pitt.
11?
Yes, with the exception of one. But his dad worked at Pitt, and so they're all Pitt grads.
Oh, wow.
And he lives and breathes Pitt. So we're at every football game, and we stay to the very end, no matter if they're getting blown out. Because there was one time when we left early, and we're out in the parking lot, and they ended up winning. So but
That's awesome.
yeah.
Now we're from the other side of the state, so we're Penn Staters, and we mostly talk about Eagles and Flyers.
Yes.
Sorry, so I won't. That's as far as I'll go. But you also mentioned earlier, you were talking about friendly competition.
Yes.
Taking that seriously. So how do you seriously take friendly competition?
Yeah. So I mean, it's like that with anything, you know, whether it be sports or, you know, like when we're talking about you're you know, an Eagles fan and I'm a Steelers fan. Like at the end of the day, like you can have all these rivalries, but it's still all in fun, even though it's competition. But I'm a competitive person. So at home, my husband is very competitive too. But so if we took our competitiveness very seriously, that would not be good. But so there are things that I'm really good at that Roger may not be as good at, and vice versa. Well, golf is one where he's a pretty decent golfer.
Okay.
He won't admit to it, but he is. I'm not so much. I took lessons, but no, I'm not that great. I would say not pretty bad, actually. But the one time we were playing over at Cranberry Highlands Golf Course, it's like right around the corner from where we live.
Okay.
And we're out there, and I'm like, okay, yep, this is okay. Well, we got to a par 3 hole, and Roger hit. He was good. I hit. Well, then he bogeyed a hole. Okay. And that par 3, he bogeyed and I parred it. So that from then on, the rest of that game, it was game on. But then there was one other time we had it was a community golf outing. And it was at Cranberry Highlands too. Well, there was a pink ball, and the pink ball, you did not want to lose it in the water. And one of the guys that was in the neighborhood, he was like, I'm the A golfer. I'm like, okay, you can be the A golfer. Roger's like, fine, I'll be the B golfer. And then we had this other guy. He goes, I'm not very good. And he goes, I'm the D. I'm like, no, I'm the D. You're the C. So, you know, we're playing all along. And then I was supposed to hit the pink ball off of the same par 3. And this guy said to me, you know what, you probably don't want to hit that pink ball because you might not make it over the water. Okay.
You're going to show him, right?
Yep. Go. You know what? Go ahead. Here's your pink ball. You go ahead and do it. Right into the water. Yeah. Oh, no. And mine went right over.
That's the universe telling him.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah. But I didn't rub that one in too much, though. Yeah.
I like it. That's the way to do it. You don't want to rub it in.
Yeah.
They already know.
Yeah, because
you can just raise an eyebrow. Like,
like, hey, yep.
Yeah.
Well, we have a golf outing coming up here soon, don't we?
Yeah, we do actually in Butler County.
That's out this way.
That is out this way. Yeah, we have that coming up May 11th.
Right,
yes.
and you're going to be there?
Yes. Yeah. We're sponsoring, so
I mean, nice.
Yeah, for construction angels. You can't talk. But yeah, we're really excited. And I already have my foursome picked
great.
out. Yeah.
You got the dream. Do you have the dream team?
I have EJ, who he doesn't golf, so there's the two of us. I have a friend that's decent, and then I have another friend. He's really good. So
he's the ringer.
We got a mix.
You got a ringer.
Yeah.
Look out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to have you guys there. Thank you so much for your sponsorship as well. Great. It's a really great cause.
Yes.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit about Construction Angels, and I think it's a great thing.
And that's a female ran nonprofit.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great cause. Any type of sponsorships that go to good causes or are in the community are really important.
So for listeners that may not know, Construction Angels is a 501c3 nonprofit that provides financial assistance to family members left behind of construction workers that are, tragically and unfortunately killed in job site related fatalities.
Yeah. And to me, like, it has impacted our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Directly.
Right. Because there's obviously got to be a gap when these tragedies happen, and they happen every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were talking earlier, there was you gave me a number or something of, the amount of money that Construction Angels used last year.
Yeah. All of the money raised at these events that we're raising funds for Construction Angels, it stays in the state. So all of the funds raised in Pennsylvania stay in Pennsylvania and directly help families, which is great. So that BERO equipment sponsoring all that money staying here. So we raised $108,000 at the last event, and all of those funds have been depleted already, which just goes to show like how important these events and these nonprofits and organizations really are.
I think it's great when businesses, even on a personal level, like anybody could jump on our website and say, and another thing too, when I think about people giving, it's something that you have to make that decision. And thank you for making that decision, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't think it matters, even if it's $5.
Right.
Because if 10 people do $5, and it extrapolates and when the money goes right back into the Commonwealth, in Pennsylvania, that to me, it hits home a little more.
Yeah.
Obviously there's so much that can go wrong in the world these days, right? I feel like I'm going to sing a song here, but there's so much out there, but sometimes when it's more localized, and that's why I say like it's directly impacted families, because when we're gone. Okay.
Right.
But it's our families that have to push on, and through that time of grief and everything, that there's always gaps. And I've always noticed that there's never enough to fully support someone through that. And so I just, I know GT&E is just super pumped and excited that we can actually, do this, but I'm more so excited that you're contributing. So thank you again.
We couldn't do it without our vendors and our customers and their sponsorships and support. Yeah. And I know Construction Angels greatly appreciates that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the event. Even though I can't golf, I'll be there to take photos, but I'll get some pictures of you golfing.
Yeah. Well, that'd be kind of scary.
Yeah. No, I'll make it look professional. Yeah. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. So let's close this out. So looking back on your journey so far, what are you most proud of?
So I would say I'm most proud of just being able to transition out of one role, make that drastic change into a complete separate industry, and building the company from where it was initially to where it is now, and to be successful at it.
Yeah. And you said you have a competitive mentality, and I can see how that translates into your business, because I think to be successful, you almost have to have that mindset. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to tackle this. I'm going to make this work.
Yep, that's true. Yeah. And I mean, everyone gets knocked down. So, if something doesn't go well, or, it's like, wow, I should have did that differently. Or, I mean, I learned from it and I move forward. I don't dwell on it. So, I mean, that is critical to, my mindset and in the business overall.
Yeah.
That's great. So what message would you like to leave with listeners during the Women in Construction Week?
So I would say, anyone that is looking to get into the construction industry, particularly females that are starting to consider something, is perseverance, really pushing through and making yourself known. Learn the business, Ask questions, get strong mentors, and never be afraid, because at the end of the day, anyone can do anything. And be outside of your comfort zone is one of the other things that, if you want to be in this, like, okay, yep, I'm comfortable, I'm 100% comfortable doing this, and I'm not afraid to venture out, then you won't be successful. You've gotta have that, and every day learn something new.
I was just ecstatic when we first started talking about having you on here, and then talking through some of what we're going to talk about. But I was really like, this was a big deal for us, Rachel.
Oh yeah,
with doing highlighting women in construction this way.
Yeah, I think it's important.
But I've been blown away by our conversation today, Cindy. This has been amazing, and I hope what this does for everybody is, one, understand about trust and integrity and customer relationships. But really, if I could add anything to it, would be that, this is a huge industry and there's a lot of room for a lot of people. It's big, but it's also small. When we neck this down, when we make this smaller to our scale in the construction industry, realize that it is a small community, and to have what you have out there for any women that are thinking about getting in this industry and like, oh no, that's the boys club, or I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But to be able to encourage, because I think everybody has a place and there's opportunity, but it can be scary.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier too that, the first year, you got to, there's a lot to take in, the nomenclature of the equipment, but anything in this industry, there's a lot. So you got to almost just rest in that fact that, okay, I got a year here just to settle in this.
Right.
Yeah. And then one day you walk out to a job site with the wrong shoes on, you realize,
Yeah.
I am in
They're done that.
I am in the construction industry, and you're there.
Yeah.
You're in it.
Yeah.
We're in it.
Yeah.
And we're doing it together. And with that, the IronCast is out.